of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. So we are coming up into a time of great tribulation, and Christ is saying, well, you really don't want to have to flee on the Sabbath. Well, if the Sabbath was just another working day like it is today, there's no problem, is there? You know, it is during the reign of Constantine, the King Pope, around 325 AD, plus a little bit, that Sunday observance was enforced, and Sabbath observance declared to be anathema. That is a curse. You know, and if you worshipped on the Sabbath, loss of life and loss of property was the penalty. Rome openly declared, and declares up to today, that Sunday is her mark. I've said it so many times. She challenges all Protestants to prove from their Bible why they worship on Sunday. Their reason is they have the authority. The Pope has the authority to make any rule he likes. He says, I tell God to jump, and God says, how high? The Talmudic Jews said a very similar thing. So if you are therefore following a church which practices these things, you can be certain that it is in rebellion against the Most High, regardless of how informed and enlightening their teaching might be. Even if they made prophecies and the prophecies came to pass, most don't. Because if it is written, if a prophet makes a prophecy and it comes to pass, and yet the prophet turns the people away from the eternal God, that prophet is a false prophet. The third point is, we have this feeling we will not reap what we sow. In other words, we can do and say anything and there will be no consequences. This includes blasphemy, idolatry, adultery, lying, stealing, torture, murder, to name a few. But if this were true, then the eternal God would be mocked. This is what he says. You know, Galatians 6:7, be not deceived, God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. So you go out and you kill by the sword, and you will be killed by the sword. You demolish people's houses and kill them, your houses will be demolished. It doesn't take another army. We've got ice storms raking across the United States. We have all kinds of disasters taking place. You don't need an army. The eternal God just turns the screw, gives the word, and it happens. Because he will not be mocked. He says, what you sow, you will reap. It is only because we do not believe this that we carry out these immoral wars, killing people and permanently injuring and maiming horrifically hundreds of thousands of people. And most of these are civilian casualties, with many women and children, horrifically injured by weapons even banned by human organizations. White phosphorus for one, depleted uranium, all other kind of horrific weapons. On the other side, the hard-earned money and the savings of millions are plundered. And then they are indebted to the tunes of billions of pounds and dollars, as money is paid right now to banks and gigantic corporations to bail them out and keep them afloat, whilst the poor, the widows, the orphans, the children, the fatherless, the homeless, the pensioners can often neither afford to eat or heat. You know, there are many scriptures confirming what we are saying, telling us what we shouldn't do. It says, Proverbs 23:10, remove not the old landmark and enter not into the fields of the fatherless. What's going on down in Israel and Palestine and Gaza? What's going on there? Aren't landmarks being removed? Orchards plowed up? I am not sympathetic to anybody. I am just saying, we live by the sword, we are going to die by the sword. That is what the Word of God says. And we better get accustomed to the idea. Isaiah 1:17, learn to do well, seek judgment, relieve the oppressed, judge the fatherless, plead for the widow. Oh, don't kick him when he's down. Don't beat his back in with a brick. Isaiah 1:23, thy princes are rebellious. Yes, we're talking about Israel now. And I'm not talking about that nation down in the Middle East. That's just basically Judah. And even there, many of the people, certainly most of the leaders, are not actually Jews in the first place, as I will mention in a moment. Thy princes are rebellious and companions of thieves. Every one loveth gifts and followeth after rewards. That's what makes things tick. That's how contracts go through. Bribes. They judge not the fatherless, neither doth the cause of the widow come unto them. Who cares about the fatherless? We kill them. Or we use them to make some shoddy good that ends up in a landfill. And then we pay them not sufficient for them to eat. Isaiah 10:1, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed. What are the laws doing now? The laws in England, what are they doing? The laws in America, what are they doing? Decree unrighteous decrees, that write grievousness which they have prescribed. The eternal God said, I didn't prescribe it, they did. Isaiah 10:2, to turn aside the needy from judgment. You want to go to court and try to get some kind of justice. And to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. Those are the people that are targeted. Pensioners pay the most tax. I know. I'm a pensioner. Don't take a job, otherwise they just take it all away. The rich don't have to pay taxes. They have this loophole, that accountant, this offshore account, and all the rest of it. But you know what? The engineered economic crisis is beginning to hit the rich, aren't they? Fourth point, evolution is a fact. There is no God. And the Bible is fiction. I see it all the time. You just open the comments on any of the newspapers trying to address something serious and you'll see what God you're talking about. There is no God. The Bible is fiction. You know, this year is the 150th anniversary of Darwin's Origin of Species. And also his birth. You know, last week we had the very prominent atheist, Professor Richard Dawkins, with, he's one of these people behind this. I don't know if you'll be able to see that. I didn't blow up a picture, but you can see that is a red London bus. And he's got two people with him, Polly Toneby and Arian Shireen. Now, basically, they've got this, there's probably no God. Now, stop worrying and enjoy your life.